Hey, Team Happy and Fit. Happy Tuesday. Thank you for hopping on. I'm so excited because we have a special guest with us. He's going to be joining us every single month, once a week. I almost said once a month for the year. My brother, Thomas Kulig, he's here in the house, and he lives in Florida. So we're awesome and chose opposite sides of the country to live. And my family will choose him always. It's not because Florida's warmer, but it's just because he's the more loyal child. Anywho, TJ, thanks for being on. We're so excited to have you.
There we go. Thank you for everybody to be here. I'm glad to see everybody online. Just took all the wind out of my sails, talking while muted. So let's just get right after it. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. So let's do that. Baby steps. All right. Let me make sure I can see some people here. Okay, cool. You can hear me, Julianne? Thumbs up? Good. All right. So one thing to remember with this is an intro. I'm going to be walking through the website today. Next month will be email. After that will be social media. And then the fourth metric of this will be analytics. And all four of those. And then they repeat again. So whatever the fifth month, May, will be the next one for website. And we'll dig in a little bit more detailed. So it'll be a little bit more granular into what to do. And then the last part of it will be more of how to use it for sales. So if you attend all of these each month, and we walk through these and we talk and we ask questions, by the end of the year, you should have your website. You should be able to have all this stuff up and running and be able to get going. So that's the purpose of this, is to help you guys. If some of you are a little bit more advanced, some of you are starting just new based on your comments that you guys left in the question area. So really, this is, we got to start somewhere. So why not start with a website? All right, now let's click. All right, so here's today's agenda. We're going to walk through a quick introduction and overview. I'm going to introduce myself a little bit more. We're going to talk about the overview and benefits of a personal website. We're going to walk into a little bit more of getting started, and then how to organize and structure your content. And then the real key of this is the question and answers portion, where you guys can really present your questions and we can talk about it as a group. And then we'll wrap it up real quick and get you guys out of here at a timely format. All right. A little bit about me. I am Julianne's brother, slightly older. I've been working in advertising for about 20 years. I've worked agency side for probably the first 10 years of it. And then the last 10 years was client side. More recently, I've branched out and done my own. So I have my own consulting firm, if you will. It's my marketing firm. And I work with Julianne and helping her with her business. After we started talking and, walking through maybe some of the tips and getting her going, we really started to learn that maybe this could be applied to everybody else. So that's kind of how our two paths crossed with here today. All right. So we're going to start with the overview and benefits of a personal website. First things first, branding. Julianne, feel free to chime in here as we go through and talk through this. This is your time to shine, whether you want to build a company, a group, or your personal website. You're not bound to any social media platform. Your website brings all of your marketing efforts and elements together, allowing you to drive traffic and sales. So really, it's the most generic place to start. It's really just how you want to build your presence. If you want to be more business focused, your website can reflect that. If you want to be more fun and outgoing, and casual, your website can reflect that. You can really pick and choose however you want to design it. It doesn't necessarily have to reflect who you are at home every day. The best recommendation for it is to reflect who you are. So if you're really sales oriented, content driven, all these different elements, just take that kind of stuff into account. But really, first things first is, what brand do you want to build? Who do you want to be? 2, the customized content. Be as detailed as you like. Okay, I'm not going to be able to see questions as they happen. Sorry. Be as detailed as you like. There's no limit to the amount of pages you can build or what you can say, and you can link your social media feeds as well as including purchasing capabilities, such as shopping carts, Etsy, and so on. So, really, now that you have your brand, you can customize the content. You can take what other people are doing and just tweak it a little bit, but really, again, it's an open art easel. Sorry, It's late. All right, here we go. Third, getting started, this would be your public storefront. Remember that this is 24/7. Your website is now a destination on desktops, tablets, and mobile devices all around the world. It allows you to reach a much bigger audience across all platforms and engage with your future customers. So, again, to kind of recap that is, when you're getting started, think of your brand, think of who you want to be. Think of, content that you can create or use or utilize. And then remember that this is going to live online all the time. This isn't a store that opens up at 8 and shuts down at 5 or whatever the hours may be. So, right now I'm on the East Coast market. It's 9 p.m. Julianne, you're on the West Coast market. What is it? 7, 6? Yeah. And so, I think it's like, it goes to show that from anywhere around the world, it offers a way to engage with you. So good things to keep in mind as you're starting to think about your website venture.
Additionally, can I add real fast?
Yeah, absolutely. Jump in whenever you like.
When I was like, something hit me with this because I think it was this whole idea of just getting it started. I thought it had to be this complicated thing of starting a website. And what you taught me is that it's actually a very simplified process. But we post every day on social media, and you can take that post, whatever that story is, move it straight to your website. But what's spectacular about that is I've added, when my brother talked about the public storefront where you can add links in there, you can add your Google links right in there. You can have your websites right in there where people can go right away, and then you'll get emails of the people who are following you. And what I have found with that is that my social media, it's almost like for that day, people see it and then it kind of disappears, right? But with my website, it's just always there. So if someone is Googling or searching, looking for Transform 20 or whatever it is, they could stumble across your website, and then you have everything that they need right there with your brand. So thanks for putting that into perspective with those 3 steps, because it's already helped me a lot.
Yeah, it's starting big picture and then working your way down. So, now we're going to get into a little bit more of the technical side of it, the getting started portion of this. So, oh man, my buttons are all over the place. So first things first, now you're deciding, okay, I have my brand. I know what I want to do. Content, I can make it up as I go. Who cares? 24/7 storefront. I get it. I got it. I know how the internet works. All right. So the technical side of this is domain names. This is where you're going to first want to start. Now, a domain name is essentially the name that, comes before .com and after the www. So it would be www.google.com. The domain name would be Google or whatever you fit in there. A pro tip for that is when you're searching for these domain names, GoDaddy are good places. Google has a good service that offers this. And you find the one that you want, be prepared to purchase it. A technical background on this is when you do a search for a domain name. So let's say I want to do teamhappyandfit.com, right? Well, it's taken. But if it wasn't taken, chances are when I do a search for that, there's going to be a bot that knows that you did that search, and it's going to go purchase that automatically. So there are companies out there that specifically go out there to find domain names that people are searching for and buy them before you do. So that when you want them, all of a sudden that $12 domain name became $1,000 or even higher. Try to go purchase your name.com, and find out and reach out to the person that owns it. And chances are you're not going to get it. So these domain names are picked up all the time, constantly, every day. So it's really important that when you're thinking it through and you think you got a really, really cool idea and you want to just go on Google and search to see if that website exists or it doesn't, I recommend to go ahead and, consider purchasing it immediately. It might be a $12 fee for the year, but that's a low risk for, at the end of the year that you don't need it. So something to consider there. Excuse me. Okay. Hosting options. So now that you have your domain name, now that you bought it and it's, yourname.gov.org.com, whatever it is, there's all these different options out there. You're going to want to host it. And that's a separate item with this. Now you can find services that are like GoDaddy and Google and stuff where you buy the domain name and they immediately offer you hosting services right there. often as a package deal. So, that $13 for the domain name, well, hey, let's bump it up to $30. And then now we have a hosting, fee or whatever it may be. So just know that when you get your domain name, you're going to have to host it somewhere, basically on a server, so that people can go to your website and find it. And that's how you get it connected to the internet. Start basic and add as you need. Some hosting companies offer bundles, as I mentioned earlier, but find the price that suits your budget and start with there. Some hosting companies are just basic hosting. Hey, we're just going to host your website. That's all we do. Some are a little bit more elaborate and offer other services. So when it comes to hosting, again, I mentioned the online services. You can find local stores that are in your area, like local shops that specialize in this. So they could be a web design company or specifically a hosting company. And that might offer that more personal feel if you're looking to work more closely with another company like that you get that kind of more personal feel with it. I'm sorry. So let's see, pricing options depend on variations. Okay, so we covered that. So it's pretty much you're hosting it. I know I'm getting a little technical here, guys. I'm sorry. All right, so now that you have the domain name, now that you're hosting it, it's time to create it. Some comments in the feedback were, items like Squarespace, Wix, WordPress, and these type things. These type websites, and I would call that a one-stop shop. So if you feel like you're design challenged, there are services that offer easy to use templates that you can customize. Some templates are free, some require a purchase, but I recommend that you read the ratings in the comments as well as how many downloads or times a template was used. And this will be a great indicator to how popular it is and a great indicator to how great the support is for it. So if you feel overwhelmed with the process of getting into building a website or what all the things that go into it, these companies, again, the WordPress, the Squarespace, the Wix, these kind of template companies have thousands and thousands and thousands of templates that make it pretty easy. I mean, Julianne, I think you can attest to when you were first starting and getting into this, how intimidating it might have been. And now I think when I go check it, you've created pages, deleted pages, moved them around, like you're making moves.
Yes, it was. Eric helped me out a lot with it because I get really frustrated on the actual starting it, and he got it started for me. But it is so easy to use and really fun. It probably takes me 20 minutes to put a boot camp up there with a form that looks really professional. And so an example is if you go to my Instagram and you'll see julianne.com forward, whatever the slant thing is, baby bump mama, and it goes straight to my website and people can apply there. And that took me no time. But when I first started, it was taking me a lot longer.
Yeah, and it takes practice. It might seem intimidating at first, but a lot of these, again, these companies and even communities that are online, Google is your friend. There are terrific tutorials out there of, oops, I messed up. How do I get this back? The help sections, chat services and support. And again, depending on what package you buy or which route you go, some of those are included, but just remember, search online and you'll be able to kind of pick up, maybe tips and tricks, and just keep it simple. All right. Okay. The organization and the content structure, right? So this is where you tell your story. Just like any paper from school, it is best to start with an outline. Your homepage, your about page, and contact page are your three pillars to any website, right? So here's an example of, how you would start your framework. You have your homepage. This is how you introduce yourself. This is your store. This is what people first see when they get to your page. Your about me. Hey, this is what I'm all about. This is why you're here. This is what I offer. Products. If I'm selling something, services, anything that I offer, coaching, things like that, and contact me. So the three that I mentioned, the homepage, the about me, and the contact, I would say those are required. Now, remember, nothing is required. You could build your website however you want. You can be creative. You can be however. But usually starting with those three pillars, you're not going to go wrong because you can just build from there. If you have a podcast series that you're doing, maybe that goes into services or maybe a product. Maybe they subscribe to it. If it's a blog about healthy eating and recipes and tips and tricks or whatever, that might kind of go in your services, and those can be renamed. So really just start with your structure and work from there. Also think about what your audience would be interested in. As you start with your main pillars, you can work with what else would include. I mentioned the podcast series, the blog on healthy eating tips. The world is your oyster. You can build your website however you like. Side note, in part 4 of this series, we'll dig into the analytics. So this is in April, where we include linking email, social, and the website all together. So for instance, you might not get comments on your content. You have a blog site and you're writing these blogs and you're putting this effort in and getting all these healthy eating tips and everything else, and you're putting it on your website and nobody's really engaging or having comments with it. Well, the analytics comes into it is where we look at how many visitors came there. Maybe you're getting hundreds and hundreds of visitors, but they're not engaging and leaving comments. So, the analytics side of it is where that tells into more of to what your audience would be interested in. But from this stage, as you're starting, you can just think big picture. Think about, this is your store. What do you want to have in there? What do you want to offer people? I use the analogy with Julianne and Eric all the time. Imagine you guys opening up your coffee store, and how do you want to greet people when they come in? Do you want your sales section to be right up in their face, like, hey, buy this, buy this, buy this? Or do you kind of want to be like, hey, go have a cup of coffee, relax a little bit, peruse around a little bit, and tell me what you think. We'll be sitting back here kind of doing some really cool workouts. And if you're interested, come hang out with us. Otherwise, make yourself at home. So I use that analogy because if you picture it like a physical store and kind of treat how you structure and how you treat your customers in that store, but apply that to an online format, it's a really good practice because it makes you, just because it's online, it doesn't mean that those interactions mean everything. So just think about what you're offering and what your audience would be interested in. But, really it starts from you.
An example of that is, Turner, when you made that. So if someone says they're not interested, you can send them a recipe, right? Some of you guys do that. Imagine if you created a space on your website with a recipe, and then you message someone, you say, hey, at juliannecondia.com, check out this recipe. So you're leading them back to you in your space with free content that will help them through that instead of just giving them a PDF.
Yeah. And they can share it with their friends. They can. It's a link is much easier to share than in a PDF document. You can send it in a text message. You can send it in Messenger. You can send it in whatever, and just say, hey, go out here and read here more. Bookmark it, save it, download it, do whatever. And if you had a PDF to support it, hey, guess what? A website, you can host it right on there. So people can click it all the time. And again, I mentioned that analytics stuff. I know it's a little too technical for what we're talking about today, but you can track how many times it's downloaded and clicked and so on and so on. So, really your website is really, really useful because it's the ultimate utility Swiss Army knife. You can use it for anything. Ways to connect. This kind of falls under that, the kind of contact me section of your outline. But really, it could be your social media feed. It could be your Twitter feed, your latest photos from Instagram. Something that's really, really important, reviews. So if you have a Facebook page and, you're building a community out there, have them leave reviews. Have them share their experience and tell their story. Have them, tell why it's so wonderful working with you and being a part of this team. And you can take those comments and use that on your website. And now it offers a connection that when somebody's reading about this content and learning about you and what you're about and what do I want to do, you're connecting with them because now you're offering other people that have similar experience. So again, it might be your latest tweets, it might be your latest images, it might be reviews and so on, but this offers ways to connect with them. And then of course, the obvious, provide an email or business phone number that a visitor can reach you at. It's real easy to put a form on there, drop me an email, send me a chat, do whatever. But just always stay connected and offer a way for them to get a hold of you. Okay. Ooh. All right. How did we do on time? I don't even know.
Good. It's 6:22. You're crushing it.
Right.
Do you want to stop sharing your screen for questions?
Yeah. Yeah.
I wrote 2 down and then, there's more on here. Okay. Kim said, is it better to have your site name as your name or a creative name, or does it matter?
It doesn't matter. Kind of similar to what I was talking about with think about what your audience, what they're interested in. Does it roll off the tongue? Okay. Is it easy to share? I don't know if you guys have seen The Wedding Singer, but Julia Gulia. Does it make sense when you say it? Do you have to repeat it? Do you have to spell it out? Those are all things that you can take into account. So using your name is totally fine. And being creative and calling it, baseball bat moon, .com, whatever you want to call it. It can be that. So really there's no preference to it. But just, kind of think those things through of how it gets shared, how you say it. When you speak it out loud, does it roll off the tongue? Those kind of come into play. Sometimes when you're going down that route though, you're really handcuffed of what you can get because of what's available. So you might have, again, a really cool idea and think it's really unique, and then somebody already bought it. So again, that kind of goes back to when you're searching and you're finding these things and you're thinking about these ideas, again, a $5, $10 investment just to buy the domain for the year. You can let it lapse and just let it expire and let it go. It's a really small investment for an idea that, could be something bigger.
Kim, I keep mine the same too. It's either Choose Happy or it's Julianne Condia. That's totally my brand. I hate using the word brand sometimes because that can feel overcomplicated, but just you, whatever you are, right? Maddie, I'm going to answer your question real fast. As far as new coaches go, or even coaches, for those of you who've been on here for a while and you're just trying to get a handle on life, like this is not meant to be done right now. No. This is meant to be done in the future. And I also want you guys to think about too, we do really have an awesome platform of social media. 11 years ago when coaching started, social media wasn't a thing. People went door to door and hosted parties for Beachbody, which could you imagine doing that? I would not want to do that. I love being able to share my story on social media and connecting. So if you can take this whole website thing and not make it seem like you have to build this crazy extravagant thing. Melanie Mitro, who is the top coach for 4 years, built her entire business starting off with a blog. All she did is it would be essentially, because she started before social media craze, is she would do the same thing she would post on social media now, but just that be on her blog. So what we're saying is if you can create something simple, it doesn't have to be, you can add to it. Mine really started as that, and it's changed so much over the last few months because I've been tweaking it, or I almost said twerking it, and that just would not flat. That just is weird. Anyway, so Maddie, I think my answer to that is self-care first when we join the team. That's a hands down thing. Fall in love with your workouts, get more energy, fall in love with this process, connect with the team, have a vision of where you want to go, and then you're sharing your story on social media. Okay, I've got a handle on that. Now I really want to put my content in a place where it will always be mine. And I mean, I've been doing this for 4.5 years, you guys, and we just made this happen 5 months ago, and I think I could have done it a lot sooner. I have fun with it. I love adding forms to it. You can add videos to it. You can just make it yours. And then the more I thought about it, the more I was like, man, in my conversations and follow-ups of, hey, I wanted to share this with you today. And it's just from my website. So I'm not sharing. How many of you guys share the Beachbody blog with recipes? I totally did that today for someone who wanted chicken recipes. I went to Beachbody blog, typed in chicken recipes, and sent that to her. If only Eric, he's the cook in our house, would give me all of his recipes, I would take pictures of them and then put them, I'm just joking, but if I cooked, I would have this whole recipe thing on my website. That's just not my niche, not my brand. My brand is more motivational speaking. So for new coaches, I think I wouldn't sit down with them and say, hey, Mary, I think it's time we build a website today. That's not how I'm going to mentor. That's not how I'm going to mentor. But having this down of man, this is definitely the direction I want to go, I think naturally it'll start to happen.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Go ahead. No, go.
Another question is, this is from Kelsey, and Kelsey, I feel like you might have to clarify because I think I was a little bit confused. Is the hosting company the one you build your website with? Are you meaning Wix, Squarespace, WordPress? That is your website, even though it's branded as that company, you still, do you buy it? I don't know how we did this.
Okay,
Yeah, I
so
think you purchased like
go ahead.
a fee. It's a fee to have that part. I don't know.
Okay, so you're purchasing the domain name, right? You own that. That's yours. But you can't do anything with it. Nobody can go to it. You just own the domain name. You have to host it somewhere, right? So you can host it with a very simple company that all they do is just host it. That's it. They just, there it goes. And it's just a blank page. Nothing's on it. Nothing's whatever. You can go to a hosting company like a Wix, a WordPress. I think I saw in there Gator. Um, you know, exactly. Like here's some, is the hosting company the one that you build your website with, or those two different things? So some hosting companies do offer that service where they have templates, or they will, for a fee, build it for you or work with you on building it. So the answer is yes and no. Some do, some don't. It's not guaranteed one way or the other. The hosting company is literally just hosting. They just throw that service in to kind of, you know, sweeten the deal. Did that answer it? I'm sorry.
Yeah, did we answer your question?
I'm so like, there's like 40 new
Okay.
messages. I don't know. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Can you hear me if I
Yes.
talk?
Yes.
Okay, so like the Squarespace, is that a hosting company?
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. I'm good now.
Got
Okay.
it. So mine is Wix.
Mhm.
I used Wix.com. And then Kim Meyer said she used Squarespace, WordPress, or Square,
Mhm.
one of the two.
WordPress.
Yes, WordPress. And so they function as similar things. It's just a different.
Yeah, and this is where that research comes in. You know, they're going to get you on the front end and say, oh, for 9.99 a month. So for $10 a month, you're going to get all these cool bells and whistles and all that. You know, it's really, that's why when I started talking about your website, you know, you're starting with those big picture items, because you need to kind of figure out what you're going to want and need. You don't have to have all the details. You don't have to have it all figured out before you start, but kind of knowing, maybe am I going to offer shopping, or maybe am I going to offer a blog? Well, maybe I should look for a company that, you know, does hosting or has templates that are blog related, you know, and that might be because you could save a lot more money, because you don't need a shopping cart. You don't need, you know, certain email services or certain back-end services that they might provide. Your hosting options are going to vary based on how many visitors you get to your site. So if you have 100 visitors a month, which is really good, you know, that's not going to be anything. If you have 10,000 visitors a day, you know, your hosting options are going to go, like, your prices are going to go way up. So, so it varies. I'm sorry.
And for me, my website wasn't live. No one could see it for maybe 2 months.
Ooh, yeah, we kept that in the dark for a while.
It was just more of, I would add to it when I could. And then now, because I have so much content already on social media, I could just go back a year from now and just start adding all this content. But mine didn't go live, and we still haven't even really launched it. It's just kind of there, and I keep directing people to it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah, I would say right now your website, it's a testing phase. You know, we started this back in September of October, and, you know, getting it built and starting to test it and kind of get all these analytics and everything together. And now it's, you know, you're testing your programs, you're testing your forms, your leads, you're testing all sorts of things that are in there. So no, it's not live yet, but you know, yeah, you're running. It's good. All right, what else we got?
Yeah, what else are your questions? TJ, I really loved how you wrote down, these are the things that you suggest that it should have as a homepage about me. Products, that would be, so your products would be your challenge group, you guys. That's what you would put under there of what you offer, of maybe your challenge or challenge groups, how to get started. Maybe it's a video. And then services, I put team. So I have a video of how to join the team, services of different, if you do different coaching, things like that. And then I really liked that breakdown. I thought that was very helpful. Services could be recipes, your go-to recipes. Your services could be your top 5 tips on how to meal prep. Your services could be your 10 tips to starting your very first program, right? Like, think about what stage you're in. Have you just started your journey? Maybe it's, this is how I got prepared for it. Maybe another service is, I'm thinking of free value, right? Of 5 ways to get started when you're afraid to, and how to commit to your journey. So don't overcomplicate it. It doesn't have to be this like tangible piece of thing. It could just be your mind of like, these are my 5 tips if you really want to get started with a program and wake up every day and get it done. This is what I did.
Yeah. I'm looking through the comments, and there's some great, the instantdomainsearch.com. This is a website you can use to see if your domain is available in price. Laura, that's fantastic. The same thing with Kim. Yeah, this stuff is really, really good because, again, this helps you find your search of like what's available and what's out there. So I love seeing that you guys are sharing this stuff with one another. When it comes back to bring that back to what you were saying before with the services or products, like that's just something I put down on there. It's very generic. So, again, it could be a blog. It doesn't have to be a service. It could just be
podcast. My podcast automatically uploads from, so I'm thinking of Liz and Kim. Every time my podcast gets uploaded on the podcast app, it automatically goes to my website. So I don't do anything.
I mean, it could be a section just dedicated to healthy eating. Like if your website's all about you and everything else, like this could be, again, it's a section of your store. It's the cool little side room over here, or it's the front display or whatever you're thinking it might be. And you can really put in there whatever you want. So you could say, just this section is, here's helpful guides, here's helpful stuff, here's, tips, here's photo journeys, here's all sorts of different things that you want to put in there. It could just be your story. So really, don't ever get bogged down on specifically what hole you need to be pegged into. If it says products or services or anything like that, like you can really make it whatever you want.
Maddie's question is, I don't think we can physically put Beachbody anywhere. I try in general not to brand myself anything with Beachbody. Do people know that I'm a Beachbody coach on social media? Yes. I love it. But with my website, it's all through my own brand, if that makes sense, my own thing. So I use words such as challenge group, my self-care journey, Happy&Fit. I don't say Beachbody, but with your website, I've seen people talk about Beachbody on their personal websites and their journey, or like Transform 20, things like that. So I don't know the exact rules of that, but how I talk about it, just like I would talk about it on social media. But typically, I just try to share my story and my thing and what I'm doing.
Yeah, and as you put that, any information on your website, this is how you're going to connect with your audience. So I don't know the legal speak of whether you guys can use it on there or not, but think of it like this. Let's say Beachbody changed their name or did whatever. Like, you still have that relationship with that person, right? You're still walking them through your journey. You're still walking them, you're helping them through theirs. You're connecting them. They might be all in and say, hey, I want to grow businesses too. I want to do what you guys are doing. I want to do all this. Or they might be on the other end of the spectrum where they're, just participating. So, as you engage with them through your website or through your social media or however, they're engaging with you. So the Beachbody side of it, I mean, I'm kind of generic with it, whether it's there or not. All right. What else we got? So much reading.
I think that's all the questions for now. If there are more questions, TJ's in the Coach Collaborative and he'll close us up and then I'll finish us out.
Yeah, let's see. Okay, cool. Some of the notes I had, okay, so obviously the time management I saw was one of the comments in there. Maybe how this helps you better with your time management. My quick answer to that is this is always open and it's always online, your website. So you can work on it whenever you need to or you can, as a little bit or as a lot. I mean, Julianne, I think you're a great example of that, of being able to just, maybe take 15, 20 minutes, write down a little bit, knock it out, plug it in there, you create a new page, and then boom, on you go. You don't try to overthink it. So, that can help there. Another comment in there was to grow the reach of your website. In the second session of this, when we get into the May, I think is the next time we repeat this one, the website topic, we specifically talk about that. We talk about, you have your website up, now you have this, how do you get it out there to more people? How do you use it? How do you leverage it? So just know that this is an ongoing series. Again, this was an intro. I really appreciate you guys taking the time to listen, me ramble. I don't know if you could tell I was a little bit nervous, a little bit shake voice. But this is really, really fun, and it's baby steps. So if you're interested in any, detailed questions, or you want to talk it out, you can find me through Facebook. You can obviously find me through Julianne to ask your questions. If it's a little bit more detailed or a little bit more specific, or you just want to say, hey, I have this problem, or this, what do I do here? Option A or option B. I'm really there to help all you guys. So I really appreciate it. The next one I think is February 19th. So if you go online, we're going to talk about email. We're going to get into a little bit of, I think I have an outline here real quick. Choosing your email provider and a dedicated address, collecting subscribers, and being you through email. So again, it's very similar to this, where we're going to kind of introduce that
You're
topic.
amazing. And there are so many coaches that their number one hesitation to get started as a coach was that they didn't want to talk on a Zoom. Like that was like their thing. Multiple coaches on this call that I can see right now that were like, I don't want to do that. And so for you to do this, it's not an easy thing. And I'm proud of you and excited. Thank you. I'm pumped just because I've seen the growth. And so you and Eric had to plant these seeds in my head for me to get the idea of it. And I felt really overwhelmed. And then now I'm like, you guys, it's so helpful. So I'm excited to keep digging in. And just an FYI, you guys, my brother's helped me with my like page. It's had 32,000 new views in the last 28 days.
Hold on. Let me get that dirt. Yeah, you did good.
0 before. It was going negative real quick. And my like page alone has had 32K views. It's been crazy.
Yeah, you've done a really good job with engaging with your customers.
Well, you're making me do all these things that they're so easy, and you're so good, and I'm just listening and I'm just trusting you, and it's like blowing my freaking mind.
Well, cheers. You guys are doing good. Well, again, thank you guys. I'm not going to keep you. Any questions, will hit me. We'll send out an email with the replay of this or whatever, recap with that presentation, those notes for you guys all to have as well. So
you rock. Thank you so much. I'm going to close this out, you guys, with some mindset stuff. Thank you. Love you. Have fun tonight. Go to bed. Speaking of bed, I was up all night long. I need to get hobbies. I need to learn how to knit or sew or do something, you guys. It was like midnight to 3:30. I tried to wake up Eric. He was not having it. I thought, I was like, where you're like, just be awake with me. I'm so bored. And I probably should have just went and read a book, but I didn't. I planned his birthday instead. Anywho, so I'm really tired and really excited to go to bed. I appreciate all of you. I know this is my philosophy. In life, we can choose to let overwhelm run us, or we can choose to not get overwhelmed. We can just choose to be like, okay, like for example, I used to run by this rule that I have to respond to all my messages within 24 hours. And I'm like, wait, that's not a rule I have to follow. That's just a rule someone set for themselves. I'm going to give myself a little bit grace. And if I get to someone in 4 freaking days, I will, because I don't want to be overwhelmed in life, right? So this is not to overwhelm you. This is to plant seeds within you. This is to just start to say, hey, there's more you can do with this that's going to grow you. And it's not going to happen tomorrow, and that's okay, but it's something to put on your radar. I'm reading the book Failing Forward. If you have not ordered it, please order it. When I first became a coach, these were my top 3 first books I ever read. The Compound Effect. I read that as the brand new coach. That is why I'm still here today. Hands down. Brittany Frost is joining us next week. One of the questions I'm going to ask her is, and she's about to be 2-star on Thursday, she's going to open up a second CBC. why are you still here, Britt? What did you see? What did you hear? How did you know to stick this out? Because if you treat this like a college degree, if you treat this like you're in this and you're not just like, I'm going to give it a week and see what I do, your whole life will change because of that if you stick it out. So I read The Compound Effect, The Slight Edge, and then Failing Forward. And now I'm going back to Failing Forward, and it's so fun because I see all of my notes I underlined when I first started 4.5 years ago, and I'm highlighting over them and highlighting things I missed because my brain is looking for different things now. I want to share this with you. We overestimate the event and underestimate the process. You should write that down. We overestimate the event and underestimate the process. Every fulfilled dream occurred because of dedication to the process. Transform 20. Okay. That workout is no joke, and it is so awesome. If you do not look at your step, you will break an ankle. Like, don't you feel that way where you're like, I just need to look down, I need to look down, I need to look at this step. But this is a process that Sean is taking you through. That it's not about, you're not going to lose all this weight necessarily. Maybe you will, great, and tone like up, right? But he's taking you on this process that when you are done with this workout, if you don't do it, you guys, I'm on day 5. I'm on day 5. Yep, a lot of you are on week 2. Okay, Ashley, you're my sister. Like, it's totally fine. It's not a big deal because you want to know something? Once we're done with it, we look back and be like, man, that process made me because I just didn't quit. I just figured it out. I just showed up. It made me. It developed me. And you know what feels good, you guys? What feels good is accomplishment. And the only way to have accomplishment is to stick it out and trust this process. The process of achievement comes through repeated failures and the constant struggle to climb to a higher level. That workout is tough. I guarantee when you really start to work this business, it's going to be tough sometimes. And I think it has everything to do with mindset. I was talking today in the coach collab and just seeing some things that I see limitations in people's thinking. And I have limitations in my own thinking. My number one limitation in this process that I've battled through with coaching is money is hard to come by. I grew up living paycheck to paycheck. My brother and I had a discussion a couple of years ago on how satisfying it is to open up a full fridge, a fridge that is full of food. Like, that wasn't the case when we were younger. And with like just how satisfying when you just open the fridge and just go, wow, look at all that. Like, that is what we came from. And I just think about that of like, man, this mindset of like paycheck to paycheck, life is always a struggle for it to be meaningful is what I thought. That's what I think. Survival, right? That's not true. Life doesn't have to always be meaningful when it's always hard. It will be hard. You'll have seasons that are hard. You will have struggle. However, you're going to have other amazing moments. So here I'm seeing some limitations of like, this person is saying, no, I'm struggling in the business. I have no money. I have this or that. And I'm like, okay, my number one thought is, I was praying about it and thinking about it is, what are you doing on your mindset about that? Because if you're going to keep thinking like that, that's what's going to keep coming into your life repeatedly. Maybe it's no one likes me. I don't have a lot of friends. Well, you want to know something? When someone turns you down or joins someone else, what is the story you're going to repeat in your head? No one likes me and I don't have any friends, right? Maybe the story you repeat in yourself, it has something to do with comparison or failure or envy. Someone got there quicker than you did. And then you're going to think, I'll never get there. So then when someone else hits a goal that you set out that they hit quicker than you, what story are you going to believe? I'm just never going to get there. There must be something wrong with me because they got there a lot quicker than me. Like, why can't I figure this out? Have you guys experienced that, or is that just me? Because I have these moments where I have to wrestle through these thoughts of like, that's my old thinking, and I can identify it. You guys, those thoughts aren't ever going to go away. They're going to be there, but the thing with personal development is that you learn to see it. When you're a part of this community, we talk about it. I was on a call with Trina, and she goes, this is the most important business meeting you'll be at all week. How many people in the hospital of nurses are having a conversation about comparison and having to deal with it? I was like, None. How many teachers are at school really talking about envy and jealousy and, self-doubt? Is anyone having conversations about that? Nope. They're talking about how to get better test scores. That's what they're talking about. They're talking about report cards. They're not talking about how to develop self-care and how to create balance and how to create happy, fulfilled lives. You guys, they're not. This is why this team freaking rocks, is because this is what our conversations are. How to level up. We can't ever let anyone get in our way of the next level. And I'm not talking about all this success of money and glamour. Guys, I'm still wearing the same. I changed my shirt today just because in case some of you saw my Instagram stories. I haven't showered. I'm still wearing the same stuff I wore yesterday. Like, it's just what it is. I had to put deodorant on today. I don't even think I've brushed my teeth. Thought of Erica. Tried. But like, I'm like not that fancy. So it's not really about that. It's just about, man, like I want to work through these thoughts because I think of Julianne 4.5 years ago. She was stuck. There was a quote that I read today. So good. I was like, dang, that was me. It's this. Let me find it. Why can't I find it? Here we go. I would rather try nothing great and succeed than try something great and risk failure. That was my thought. My thought was this. The don't dare try it people. They resist opportunities. They rationalize responsibilities. They rehearse impossibilities. They rain on enthusiasm. They review their inadequacies. They recoil of failure of others. They reject the personal cost involved. They replace goals with pleasure. Right? Netflix, binge watching TV, eating horrible food on the couch. They replace goals and being on this business call. Instead, they're watching This Is Us. I know This Is Us is on Tuesdays. I know that very well. I know it's on right now. But they replaced it with pleasure. But then you know what? Who stays the same when you keep continuing to do that? Because when I was 35 pounds heavier, and feeling exhausted, guess what didn't change? Guess what stayed the same? That. Then when I started getting off the couch and started working out, I started having more energy, which is what everyone tells me when they first start this journey is I have more energy, right? I started replacing goals with pleasure, right? Or replacing pleasure with goals. And then I started feeling better. And then back in the day, it was like they rest before they finish. They resist leadership. They remain unchanged. They replay the problems. They rethink their commitment. They reverse their decision. And then what do we see people do? They quit. How many of you have seen people quit this and go crush it? I'm not saying that's what I hope happens, that they just don't crush it and haha, told you so. That's not my attitude about it. But how many of y'all see people crush it after leaving this kind of thing? You don't. So instead, this is what we do is don't dare miss it, people, is who we're going to be. And it's they find opportunities. They finish their responsibilities. They feed on impossibilities. They fan the flame of enthusiasm. They face their inadequacies. They figure out why others failed. I love that. Like, why did they fail? I want to get better. They finance the cost into their lifestyle instead of saying, I can't afford it. Because if that is our continued story, which used to be mine, that's what's going to play out. That is those are the type of people that are going to come into your life, is that they'll never be able to do this. I'm not looking for those kind of people. I'm looking for the people who might be tight on cash, but they're willing to take the risk because they want to feel better. How many of you were squeezed with cash joining this, and then your whole possibilities changed because of it? A lot of you told me no because you couldn't afford it. Then you took the leap, and now look, right? I get it. It's tough sometimes. I get it. I've been there, right? They finish before they rest. They follow leaders. They force change. They fish for solutions. Instead of saying it's so hard, I go, what are 10 more things I can figure out to do to make this happen? Instead of saying, I'm so exhausted, I have no time, you know what? I'm going to figure it out. They finalize their decision. If you want to increase your odds of success, you have to take the chances. How freaking good is that? The person interested in success has to learn to view failure as a healthy, inevitable part of the process of getting to the top. If you struggle, that equals life, my friends. If you see happiness, that is life, my friends. If you read Psalms in the Bible, David is an ebb and flow feeler, man. He is like praising the Lord, and then he is down in the pit, and it is just like nonstop. And I'm like, man, this is so repetitive. And then I really started to really allow God to speak to my heart with the Psalms, and I'm like, oh, this is me. I'm at the peak and I'm at the valley. I'm everywhere, just like him. This makes sense. Just seek the Lord. And then I realized, I was like, that's life. That's life. We're going to compare. We're going to have envy. We're going to struggle with the mentality of money. But man, what if we just chose to keep going anyway? Maybe that's what we need to do. Maybe that's what we need to do. Basically, this book is like, nothing can motivate a person like adversity. Wouldn't you think so? Man, I get fired up with adversity. I get fired up with the things that have given me grit in life. If you can step back from a negative circumstance facing you, you'll be able to discover their positive benefits. Like, what do you think in life right now is developing you instead of trying to crush you? What do you think in life is trying to develop you, teach you, show you, instead of demolish you? Because maybe it's not really meant to be that way. Maybe on the other end of this, there's a lesson. Maybe what you're going through now is setting you up for something in the future so you can handle it better. Do you think that? I do. I really do. Failing Forward, my friends. This book is real good. It's speaking to my soul. And this is my second time reading it, I believe. But when I first started, compound effect, slight edge. Compound effect is like the one phrase I needed to hear. Because, like, why am I still here? I made $0 when I first started. I lost 7 pounds my first challenge. Maybe that's why I'm still here. I don't know. But I honestly heard this phrase. I heard this phrase, and it was, this is the bridge to freedom. And I just trusted that it was, even though I didn't know someone like me could do something like this. I just had to trust that there was enough room, because we play off of scarcity in this world. And let me tell you this, there's no scarcity when it comes to health. There's no scarcity when it comes to happiness. And there's no scarcity when it comes to fulfillment. And that is what this is. And so once I started to realize that, I wrote down slow and steady wins the freaking race. I didn't add freaking there, but I just did. It just adds a little more oomph to it of just don't quit. Just trust this process. There's many times I've gotten setbacks in this. There's many frustrations I've had, but I just wanted to seek out the solutions and make it happen. I just believe in this very much. I'm going to end with this. So I'm not going to go to Summit. I can't. I'll be giving birth, and it is like devastating and wonderful all at the same time. One, because I love you all very much, and two, I'm really loving my child too, so I'm excited about that. And I have some cool things that I'm going to be doing. I have to talk to Liz about this. I was thinking about, I already bought where I'm staying at an Airbnb, and maybe raffling that off and giving my space away to someone who needs it. And also I have a table at Summit that's going to be down on the floor that I would love to give away as well throughout the weekend there at Summit. And you guys, I really want to be a 15-star team. And it's really hard to put that out there when you don't know if everyone's in that with you, because I think you have to go through it in order to realize, like, those are the kind of things you want sometimes. I know the coaches on here who have gone for Diamond or 1-star and whatever, they start to really get it when it involves other people. I feel like I know there's more that I can do mentor-wise and things like that, but also I think I'm trying, and I think what I need is the team. Like, I just need this like overwhelming thing of, yeah, a headshot. And I want to have a cardboard cutout of when we are a 15-star team, and you guys can all like walk it across the stage or something. Anyway, I just wanted to put it out there because you're going to hear me talking about it a lot. And we are 3 coaches away from 9-star, like lifetime diamonds that we have to be 9-star. That's how fast that is. And then we have a group of people that are going for diamond, and that's going to make us at 14. If it all works out and plays out to that. We have until May 2nd. But are you in this with me? Because it's like, y'all, it is a push, and it's really a lot of my PS coaches, and that can be a lot of pressure. But I feel like if I don't go for that, you won't ever go for that. And I just want to level up, not because the recognition, but because of what we're capable of. And I just know that we can do it. So Liz, girl, yes. Yes, so 15 personally sponsored diamonds. I'm sweating thinking about it. I actually need to take my jacket off right now. Like, it's getting hot over here. I just think that Happy and Fit can do it, you guys. But we have until May 2nd. That's a lot closer than we think. So I just wanted to let you guys all know. I'll let you know about all the summit stuff. I have some fun things happening that I want to do for the team. And yeah, I love you all very much. I hope that mindset stuff set your soul on fire. Go rest. If you want to watch a show, go watch a freaking show. I watch TV still too, my friends. I still love the couch, but I love that you made this a priority tonight, and I love you all. Let's take a picture. Let me stop the